As is so often the case, the numbers reported by Trudeau's government don't add up. Despite official government numbers of just under 500,000 immigrants and more than 1 million foreign students in the country on visas last year, the StatScan population clock shows that our country has grown by 1.2 million in the past 9 months alone. While the clock is just a computerized ticker, counting up at pre-programmed intervals based upon simple math, and therefore quite likely to be wrong, that doesn't mean that it's estimating too high. In fact, as I've reported in the past, it may be that the computerized estimate is too low. At the time of this writing, the clock stood at 41,032,180. In a report released on March 27th, StatsCan noted that in 2023, Canada's population increased by 1,271,872 people, the highest annual population growth rate since 1957, and which was mostly driven by immigration. The agency said most of the 3.2% population growth rate stemmed from temporary immigration, such as student visas and temporary foreign workers. Without temporary residents, the population would have still grown by 1.2%. A total of 804,901 non-permanent residents, or NPRs, arrived in Canada last year, compared to 471,771 permanent immigrants, with temporary workers making up the bulk of NPRs. Overall, Statistics Canada estimates that as of January 1st of this year, there are 2,661,784 NPRs residing in Canada, with 328,898 being asylum seekers. So that tells us right there that the government isn't accounting for people who may be granted temporary asylum and end up staying permanently. In January, the federal government announced it would be capping the number of student visas at 360,000, around 36% less than in 2023. The cap is expected to remain in force until 2025, when it will be reviewed. What they're not talking about is the large number of foreign students who they lose track of. Some went home, and the bureaucrat responsible for recording that didn't check the little box. But some of them stayed, and we don't know how many of those there are, or even who they are.
Every year, we bring in about 450, now close to 500,000 permanent residents a year. Over the past few years, we've seen a massive spike in temporary immigration, whether it's temporary foreign workers or whether it's international students in particular that have grown at a rate far beyond what Canada has been able to absorb. To give an example, in 2017, 2% of Canada's population was made up of temporary immigrants. Now, we're at 7.5% of our population comprised of temporary immigrants, but also increasingly more and more businesses relying on temporary foreign workers in a way that's driving down wages in some sectors.
Is it just me, or did he just admit to causing the problem?